All right, folks, just lifted off here at Clark Air Force, no, Clark International Airport in Angeles City in the Philippines. Always wanted to call it Clark Air Force Base. It's just what I grew up with. Anyway, so we're going to head over here to the southwest, and we're going to take a look at Mount Pinatubo, which erupted in 1991. Caused an awful lot of problems for the Philippines. You know, just they had to evacuate a lot of people. I mean, you can see the proximity to a major city that it is. So I mean, I'm sure it just really was a bad time. I think it was June 15th, 1991, and so yeah, when it erupted, it just it really devastated a lot of things, and they've been having residuals from it for years and years. I mean, I think up until as recently as like 2009, it's been a problem. Um, it actually lost elevation when it actually erupted. Before it erupted, it was 5,725 feet above sea level, and right now it's 4,875 feet above sea level. So it lost nearly 1,000. I should probably turn the co-pilot off, at least for this. So yeah, it. Yeah, shut up. Anyway, so you see all these ruts and everything where the lava just came down. It was bad. I mean, it was really bad, and it's so recent. It was actually the second largest eruption of the 20th century, over second to Nova Rupta. I guess that's the name of it, Nova Rupta in Alaska. But the worst thing about this one was that when it erupted, the day it erupted, they were also getting a typhoon, and it sent ash and debris and all kinds of stuff. I mean, the typhoon just exacerbated the problem with the ash cloud and everything, and just made it a lot worse. So, what's that? No, that's not a point of interest. I think a point of interest is right in front of us. I don't know why that's not on the map. It's weird. Anyway, so and it erupted. It put out 10 billion tons of magma, 20 million tons of SO2, and brought all kinds of toxic crap to the surface and everything. It injected more particulate into the stratosphere than any eruption since Krakatoa in 1883. It said in the following months, aerosols formed a global layer of sulfuric acid haze. Global temperatures dropped by almost one degree Fahrenheit in the years of 91, 93, or to 93, and ozone depletion temporarily saw a substantial increase. So it made the hole in the ozone layer much, much bigger. And if Greta Thunberg was alive at the time, she probably would have stole her childhood. And if they just make a law that volcanoes can't put CO2 and carbon emissions into the atmosphere, everything would be great. Anyway, we're coming up to the crest of it now. You can see the lake up there. It's It's a pretty nice one. I mean, it's not as big as Pectu, but it's much more accessible. I mean, you could damn near walk to it from Angeles City. You know, I don't know if you'd want to, but you could. Um, so you can almost walk to it, but the lake is nice. I mean, the terrain looks a lot nicer here, and then this is a little bit more realistic. Um, Not quite the most realistic thing in the world. I mean, it's still a little off, but there are definitely more trees and vegetation around this volcano than there are in the one in North Korea, because the elevation is almost about half. Plus the Philippines is a much more tropical place than North Korea is. So there we are. I mean, I just love how Flight Sim renders these landscapes and everything. I think where we're flying over now, that actually collapsed about 10 years after the eruption, and it actually spilled a lot of water down. So the lake was filling up almost to the rim, and the Philippine government actually had to forcefully drain it to keep it from going over and possibly breaking the rim and flooding the hell out of everything. So you know the Philippine government, who has limited resources, we all know that. Um, they've had to do an awful lot of work just to keep this thing from continually, bothering residents and whatnot. But it's definitely worth a see if you ever go to the Philippines. I don't know that I'll ever go. It's a good possibility I might, but I don't know. But unlike Pektu, this is definitely one that you can go to easily. You don't have to worry about communist governments or whatever. And the people in the Philippines are generally friendly to Westerners. They're not. They're not necessarily unfriendly, but it is a third world country. You have to be careful, no matter where you go in any kind of country like that. But it's a beautiful place. And straight ahead, there's a mountain called what is it called? Mount Arayat. Arayat. So there's definitely a lot to do in Angeles City besides go to bars and pick up girls. That's another one I wanted to showcase, and you know, let me know if there's any place on Earth you want me to fly, because there's not a place on Earth I refuse to. Except maybe San Francisco. And you know what? This has been kind of a short video. Let's go take a look at Mount Arayat. I don't really know a lot about it, but I don't mind looking, and it won't take long to get there, especially when I speed up the simulation. That's something a lot of people don't know that you can do in Flight Simulator 2020. You can speed up the simulation rate the same as you could in FSX. You have to be careful though, because unfortunately, well, I had to bind the keys. You have to go find the keys and bind them, but I bound them to the plus and minus keys. But unfortunately, it doesn't give you any on-screen clues as to how to do it, or what your rate is. It used to be on FSX to tell you be 4, 8, 16, 32, but this one doesn't. So you just have to remember how many times you hit whatever it is. So there we are, sped up. I think I sped it up 3 times, maybe 4 times. So I just forgot. That's one of the problems here. And it kind of messes with your frame rates if you speed up over a major city, because I just went down to like 13 frames, now I'm back up to 50, which I can deal with. I'd like it to be 60, but you know, can't always get what you want. Yeah, that's definitely slowed down. You can slow it down also. Yeah, Flight Sim, the new Microsoft Flight Simulator is definitely one of the best when it comes, for VFR flying. It may not be the greatest for IFR flying. I haven't done a lot of that because why? I mean, it's so much nicer just to see all this stuff. See stuff I've never seen before, and even if it's not rendered perfectly, it's still so much better than anything we've ever had before. I mean, these are satellite images, so it may not be perfect, but it's close. That's Mount Arayat right there. It's a national park there in the Philippines. I'm sure you could probably climb it and have a pretty good time. It's a nice looking place. And there again, it's pretty close there. Angeles City. I mean, if I was going to go to the Philippines, I'd probably go there, stay away from Manila. Manila's really busy and really overcrowded, and there's just you're liable to get robbed just because of the amount of people and everything. They all think that we have a lot of money. They think that Americans, British, Germans, whatever. They think we're all rich, and whether you think so or not, they think it. So uh, they're probably going to try to test you if you're not careful. If you don't know anybody in the area, they're definitely going to do it. And if you don't have an escort, they're definitely going to do it. And guns are legal in the Philippines too. There's a lot of them. There's not as many as there are in the United States, but you know criminals carry guns just like law-abiding citizens carry guns. So you just have to be careful. I probably know a little bit more about the Philippines than I do North Korea, but I mean it's a more accessible place. Anyway, like I said, if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more of it, then give me a shout and maybe I'll accommodate that and see what other kind of cool places I can find. If I come up with anything in my own mind, I'll definitely do it. I'm not gonna go doing loops on the Golden Gate Bridge or around the Statue of Liberty because everybody and their brother's done that. Landing at Lukla. Hell, I've already got a video where I did that a long time ago, and like FS9, I believe. But I mean, it's definitely there's a lot more to do in flight sim. And there's a lot of landmarks that I think should be marked, but aren't marked, and it's just kind of surprising to me. Like there's, in North Korea and Pyongyang, there's the Mayday Stadium, but there's not the Rugyong hotel, which I get because it's not finished, but well, it's never going to be finished. But I feel like it's probably something that should be modeled. It's not even modeled in Flight Sim. It kind of bugs me because it's actually a cool looking building. Let's trim this thing a little bit. It really looks nice out here. I don't know if I can make this runway. It's not a good pattern that I'm on. Let me go ahead and just cut the throttle and drop some altitude. Not that much. My vertical speed's a little high. I'll probably go for the small runway.
Clark approach Cirrus Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Cirrus Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Clark approach. Cleared through the Bravo airspace.
I'll be honest with you, the only reason I like flying outside is because
Bravo airspace Cirrus X-ray
I
Golf
got
Sierra.
all the information right there in front of my face right there. It's easier to maintain the gauges than it is on the in-cockpit. I kind of wish the cockpit was a little bit more uh, easy to see everything. I mean, in a real cockpit, I mean, you're looking all around and whatnot. It's going to be a lot easier, but for me right now, I'm trying to focus on the runway. And the gauges are hard. I mean, when you're sitting there looking. I'm not really sure the speeds on the Cirrus anyway. Well, that was not the coolest landing, but it landed. Well, this thing stops on a dime, though. This probably isn't the right run. It's not the right taxiway, but I don't care either. Anyway, I'll end that there. You can make fun of my landing if you want to on the video, and tell me what you want to see if you want to see something.